I love stories like this. I get out of bed in the morning for stories like this. In fact, I have two stories like this back to back. Jeff Kuntz, man. Jeff Kuntz be on the ball. I don't know how he finds the stuff, but he usually catches us before I do, and I'm glad he did. George Knapp was one of the reporters that was instrumental in getting out the information for the Tic Tac video and the Nimitz video. Oh, the Tic Tac video of the Nimitz, essentially the craft, that bombshell reporting for the New York Times. Knapp, let's say, was one of those people behind the scenes doing reporting on stuff like this, and was one of those people that was in the know, and that he has been in the know going all the way back to the discovery of Area 51. He put it on the map, man. So he's been doing this for a very long time. The I-Team has, like I said, been working with Academy to the Stars. Academy to the Stars. Academy to the Stars. I think that's right. Academy Science to the Stars. I could be mispronouncing the acronym. But the Tom DeLonge organization that's releasing information and then that's been trying to yank this issue out further into the limelight. Luis Elizondo has been doing blogs and all sorts of stuff. Blogs, videos, interviews, anybody that would listen. And if you remember, Luis Elizondo was the guy who essentially was on CNN, essentially said, yes, I believe we're being visited. And he was a person that was instrumental in working for the Defense Department, or working with the Pentagon for this particular research. Now, I bring him up even though he's not instrumental in the story, but he's one of the figures. And let me back up, because I've gone too far into the weeds, way into the weeds on this. I-Team is reporting that Bigelow Aerospace had been given materials supposedly from crash sites in order to investigate, and that these materials have weird and exotic properties that to some degree defy explanation of the people who have been analyzing the materials. Let's take a look at this, because apparently people have been scouring the world to try to get these things. Let's see. Let's flip here. And I'm just going to go to the report itself, because the report itself is pretty succinct. For years, the Pentagon secretly studied the seemingly impossibilities of unknown craft captured in military videos. Let's start up here. Some of the metamaterials was allegedly collected in connection with the UFO incidents, which gives the whole endeavor an otherworldly glow. That's putting it nice. Scientists now want to know if the materials used in these mystery aircraft allow them to do what they do. For years, one of the secret studies was carried out by Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies. Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies, a Las Vegas operation with Bigelow Aerospace. Documents first reported to the I-Team show that Bass landed a contract with the Defense Intelligence Agency, and one of the objectives was to study the so-called metamaterials as well as futuristic technologies. It was a multi-layer bismuth and magnesium sample. Bismuth layers less than a human hair. Magnesium samples about 10 times the size of a human hair, supposedly picked up at a crash retrieval of an advanced aerospace vehicle. Just call it a UFO. Just call it a UFO. It's literally a UFO, an unidentified flying object. Whatever. It looks like it's been in a crash, said Dr. Hal Puthoff with the Institute of Advanced Studies during presentation in Las Vegas. In June, physicist Hal Puthoff came pretty close to saying that the weird wedge of the metamaterials came from a crash saucer, but he can't know for sure. Puthoff and his colleagues, Dr. Eric Davis, are on the cutting edge of attempts to identify an assortment of bits and pieces that are seemingly beyond anything we can create. This one sample is engineered in layers thinner than microns through a process unknown on Earth. And for what purpose, We can only guess. Nowhere can we find evidence that anybody ever made one of these when we talk to people in the materials field who should know. And they said, we don't know why anybody will want to make anything like this, Hal Puthoff said. Astrophysicist Jack Vallée. Jack Vallée is a hard-nosed physicist that's been in this field for a while. He's a fascinating guy, and his books are pretty interesting. Because his hypothesis goes beyond this idea of just nuts and bolts of a craft. It's pretty frightening in some cases, but fascinating nonetheless. Has been analyzing mystery material since the 80s, often using the technical expertise of Stanford University and Silicon Valley to unravel unknown samples acquired from over the world. Vallée pointedly steers clear of any military funding, and he shared his findings at public conferences. Good on Vallée. We have multiple samples from multiple sources, a wide variety and integrity, says Lou Elizondo to the Stars Academy. I call it Academy to the Stars. It's to the Stars Academy. These days, former intelligence officer Lou Elizondo, I thought it was Louise, I think it's Louise Elizondo, helps to collect and protect unknown chunks from To the Stars Academy. Before that, he ran the AATIP, Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, the Pentagon's secret UFO study. The same one which released the now famous video of the encounters between Navy pilots and the mystery machines dubbed the Tic Tac and the Gimbal UFOs. This is fascinating. This is fucking fascinating. Yeah, this is fascinating. At least I think it's fascinating. Because this is the release of materials. This goes beyond just, hey, there's something in a video. It's grainy. I can't necessarily see everything that's taking place. I'm amazed at the people regarding this. You have military pilots who say we're on the boat, on the ship, which you can check because you have their names, you have their ranks, you have who they are. They're showing their face. And the guy is like, I was in the plane, I was watching this thing as it was doing maneuvers. That was me. That was the ship. You have all the information. It's all available. This is above board. And then it was like, yeah, I still don't know. I still don't know. How can you still not know? How can you still not know? Now, that being said, you can make an argument that says, well, look, I don't know what the United States is hiding in its tool shed. And that could have been something that we ourselves made. Fair enough. But let's at the very least acknowledge that those pilots were up there and those pilots were seeing something. Going beyond that point of those pilots seeing something and observing something and you seeing something on video and it's being released in the New York Times and you realizing that there's a program and they've been studying this stuff for years. You also have on top of that now materials that nothing like we've seen before. People who are in the field saying we have no idea why they are being engineered. And on top of that, they have exotic properties. Fascinating. Fascinating.